The Green Lantern ring is one of the most iconic and versatile tools in all of comics, channeling pure willpower into incredible feats. But not all its powers are equal. Some are simple, others nearly limitless. To really understand what makes the ring so special, we need to start with the foundation, the basic energy constructs. These simple hard light shapes reveal both the ring's potential and its boundaries. Let's break down how they work and why they're so essential. Basic energy constructs. Basic energy constructs are the bread and butter of every Green Lantern ring. And honestly, the core reason these rings are so iconic. At their simplest, constructs are solid-feeling shapes made of green glowing energy, shaped by pure willpower. The ring takes the wearer's imagination and turns it into tangible objects. Sounds simple, but this power defines almost everything the ring can do. Before you think it's just glowing fists and walls, hear me out. Constructs aren't just flashy effects. They're the physical expression of a lantern's creativity and mental strength. From shield walls, giant fists, cages, to platforms for holding ground or trapping foes, these forms serve offense, defense, and practical needs all at once. Officially, the ring lets users create anything they can picture, limited only by will and imagination. But the basic tier focuses on simple, stable forms: fists to punch, shields to block, cages to imprison, ladders or ropes. Rookies often stick to straightforward geometric shapes or blunt objects because complex designs take more focus and drain more energy. The ring basically has a quick deploy template for common sense constructs. Here's the cool part: constructs reflect the bearer's personality. John Stewart builds precise architectural constructs, showing his training and mindset. Guy Gardner's brash, flashy weapons echo his style. Your mental image literally shapes what the energy becomes. It's willpower and identity made visible. Of course, it's not unlimited. The ring's power is finite and needs recharging from the lantern's battery roughly every 24 hours. Complex or sustained constructs drain energy faster than simple ones. Maintaining them requires focus. Too much distraction and they flicker or collapse. The constructs are only as real as your will to hold them. Another historic limit was the yellow impurity. For decades, Green Lantern rings couldn't affect yellow objects, a weakness tied to the fear entity Parallax trapped in the battery. Lanterns couldn't trap or hit anything yellow, shaping battles and tactics. Some modern stories have softened this, but it remains a famous mythos point. Narratively, constructs do more than fight. Makeshift stretchers for allies, temporary bridges, containment fields, or strange non-weapon shapes to solve problems on the fly. The ring can create any imagined object instantly, an incredible improvisation tool. In massive story arcs like Sinestro Corps War, construct styles underline the emotional spectrum contrast. Green constructs are controlled and protective, while yellow ones bring raw, fear-driven imagery. They don't just light up the scene, they tell a story. So yeah, constructs are Green Lantern's signature power. They combine near-unlimited potential with real limits, forcing users to balance imagination, will, energy, and personality, which is exactly why they're so captivating. But if hardlight fists impress you, wait until you see how the ring uses willpower to defy gravity. Next up, flight. Flight might be the single most visually iconic power every Green Lantern shows off, but here's the kicker. Unlike most comic book flyers, lanterns don't just flap wings or rocket around. Their flight is pure willpower turned into force manipulation. The ring taps into fundamental forces like gravity and momentum, letting the user push, pull, and glide through any environment with mind-driven precision. Before you shrug and think, just levitate? Hear me out. This isn't your standard floating trick. The ring actively rewires gravity's pull around the user and directs thrust in any direction they want. That's how lanterns can zip through space at near light speed or weave through city streets like they're skating on air. No mechanical boosters necessary. The ring's power aura shields them from G-forces, friction, and space hazards, turning impossible speeds and maneuvers into just another day at the office. It also pumps life support, oxygen, pressure, and temperature regulation, so they don't have to worry about exploding lungs or freezing in space. Speeds vary wildly depending on the environment and who's wearing the ring. In atmosphere, the consensus puts the top speed around Mach 12, 12 times the speed of sound. That's fast enough to cause sonic booms and serious disruption, even with the protective aura. But in space, where there's no air resistance, some lanterns have pushed their rings to near light speed, which is insanely fast. The important caveat, keeping that up is exhausting cognitively and energetically. Navigating at relativistic speeds, even with AI help, takes superhuman concentration, precision, and raw willpower. You don't just hold the stick, you mentally pilot a missile through the void. Flight isn't just a tool, it's a narrative lifeline for the Corps' galaxy-wide reach. The universe is divided into 3,600 sectors patrolled by lanterns who rely on this power to respond to crises light years away in tight time frames. The ring's flight lets them cover vast distances fast enough to matter, stopping cosmic threats from turning sectors into space junkyards. Plus, chase scenes, rapid interceptions, and spectacular aerial battles would be flat without it. Visually, the green streaks of energy make lanterns look like cosmic angels, soaring above planets as mythic peacekeepers. That said, fan debates about how fast flight really is never settle down. Some swear the rings enable consistent faster-than-light travel, matching or exceeding characters like Superman, especially when factoring wormholes or subspace shortcuts rings can create. Others argue flight in combat is much slower, because maintaining complex constructs or fighting splits the user's willpower and attention. So while they rocket across the galaxy for patrols, lanterns usually dial back speed in battle, staying in manageable, reactive windows. Then there's the hair-splitting distinction between travel speed and combat speed, which feels like ringing the dinner bell for internet arguments. Fans dissect every comic panel, parsing whether a lantern is cruising in hyperspace or dodging bullets supersonically. Official guides don't give hard caps because the ring's power depends on the wearer's will, meaning these limits are fuzzy, more like as fast as you can mentally push yourself. Here's the thing, flight perfectly embodies the Green Lantern philosophy. Your mental grit literally translates into how fast and far you can move. The stronger your will, the faster your wings. And no, those wings are made of light will and force manipulation, not feathers. But if flight sounds impressive, wait until we talk about how the ring uses those energies defensively with force fields. That's where things get even more physics-bendy. Force fields. Force fields are one of the Green Lantern ring's most vital and quietly powerful abilities. At a basic level, the ring automatically envelops its wearer in a personal aura, a faint, often invisible shield that protects them from hostile environments. This aura is literally a life support bubble, guarding against vacuum, extreme temperatures, radiation, and crushing impact forces. Lanterns can fly in deep space with no helmet or suit, because this shield provides breathable air and pressure regulation. It runs constantly, maintained by the ring's AI, as long as the wearer stays conscious and powered. But force fields don't stop at just personal protection. The ring can project large-scale defensive barriers to shield entire cities, spacecraft, or teams. These aren't just glowing bubbles. They are customized, hard-light constructs specifically tuned for defense. Lanterns have erected city-spanning domes during massive invasions or expanded shields around ships caught in cosmic battles. The scalability is impressive. A lantern can create a small handheld shield or an enormous green fortress, but size and strength come with a hefty energy cost. Bigger barriers drain the ring's charge fast, making them a last resort, high willpower commitment. Here's the thing. Force fields directly depend on the user's willpower and focus. The ring's AI manages the baseline personal aura effortlessly, but actively maintaining giant macro shields in a crisis demands tremendous concentration and emotional stamina. If the lantern is overwhelmed, distracted, or running low on power, their shields can flicker, weaken, or collapse, sometimes with catastrophic results. This vulnerability adds real tension. Your impenetrable cosmic shield isn't actually ironclad if your mind falters. Historically, there's also the infamous yellow impurity that weakened Green Lantern energy against anything yellow. While force fields could block most attacks, yellow-based assaults exploited that weakness and could breach shields. Even today, magic and reality warping powers sometimes bypass these defenses entirely, showing that Lantern force fields are potent but not absolute. They protect against physical and energy damage but aren't universal. Some of the Green Lantern Corps' most iconic and awe-inspiring moments revolve around force fields. Lanterns standing firm to wrap cities in glowing green bubbles, protecting whole populations from destruction, power surges, or cosmic storm damage. Those scenes aren't just spectacle. They position the Corps as cosmic first responders and defenders, the ultimate shield between fragile life and universe-ending threats. The ring's force fields embody the Corps' core role, guarding the vulnerable with unbreakable will. Fans tend to view the force field power as one of the ring's most realistic sci-fi abilities, the classic energy shield trope brought vividly to life. However, it's also subject to narrative inconsistencies. Sometimes a lantern will shrug off a building-busting attack behind their shield, and in the next issue, a weaker strike cracks it. These fluctuations usually serve pacing or drama rather than strict logic, but they do spark debates about how durable the fields really are. The energy cost balancing act partly explains it. Sometimes the ring's energy is nearly spent, other times it's fully charged and at peak power. To sum up, force fields sit at an intermediate to advanced level in the ring's powers hierarchy. The personal aura runs quietly in the background, almost automatic, providing a constant layer of passive defense and life support. The larger active shields require deliberate willpower reserves, focus, and come with significant energy trade-offs. They are the core's defensive backbone, a vital power that combines grounded sci-fi plausibility with cosmic-scale stakes. But if you think protecting entire cities sounds tough, wait until we get into the raw power of their offensive energy blasts. Next, energy blasts. Energy blasts are the Green Lantern Ring's go-to offensive power, but they're far from just laser beams. These are directed emissions of concussive or electromagnetic energy shaped as beams, pulses, or waves designed to smack, stun, or disrupt targets at will. Unlike the solid constructs that take form and hold shape, energy blasts are short-lived bursts of raw green power. Think of them as flexible punches thrown at light speed, calibrated precisely by the user's intention. Before you imagine nothing but straightforward pew-pews, hear me out. The ring doesn't just fire generic energy shots. The intensity of these blasts is wildly configurable. Users can dial down the force for non-lethal crowd control, like pushing back an unruly mob or stunning attackers without permanent harm, or crank it way up to levels that could slice through starship hulls or level large structures. Some lanterns have even unleashed blasts that momentarily blind opponents with searing light, or generate electromagnetic pulses capable of frying tech systems. So it's less about raw power alone and more about tactical versatility. Official and fan accounts consistently note that energy blasts integrate tightly with other ring powers. It's common for a lantern to use a burst to break enemy defenses, then immediately dart in with a solid construct to trap or disarm them, all while flying circles around danger. The ring's AI likely assists in quick targeting and energy management, letting the wearer switch between beam styles or blast intensities on the fly. You might see a narrow, laser-like beam for piercing a tough enemy, immediately followed by wide-angle concussive waves to knock back multiple foes. That fluid adaptability makes energy projection a broad-spectrum weapon, not just a one-trick beam. But here's where it gets weird. The power scaling of these blasts can reach cosmic levels if the situation demands it. While typical patrol missions see lanterns using blasts to disable weapons or create tactical openings, epic storylines have shown them shaking planets or clashing with godlike beings using sheer blast intensity. The ring literally channels energy from the central power battery, which is said to tap into the green willpower spectrum on a universal scale. So the destructive potential is theoretically limitless. But story context and user control usually keep things in check. Otherwise, the galaxy would be exploding constantly. This restraint also feeds community debates around the portrayal of these blasts. Some fans argue that too many comics and shows lean on generic laser-like visuals, missing out on showing the imaginative tactical uses the ring can offer. Others point out runs where lanterns create unique blast effects, like blasts that transform mid-flight into cages, or diversify frequencies to bypass specific defenses, and praise those for capturing the versatility that defines the ring's power. The consensus is that energy blasts are less about one massive punch and more about combo-based fight choreography. Compared to other DC characters who shoot destructive energy, Superman with heat vision, Darkseid's Omega beams, or Starfire's starbolts, Green Lantern blasts stand out because of their customizability and strategic depth. They won't necessarily burn a villain to a crisp with pure raw force every time, but they can adapt, combine with constructs, and be part of clever, multi-layered approaches to combat. The ring turns what could be a brute energy cannon into a Swiss Army knife of power projection. To sum up, energy blasts are where the ring's offensive versatility shines brightest. They offer everything from a gentle shove to universe-shaking force depending on the user's will and the narrative needs. That makes this power an essential bridge between simple light-based constructs and the more exotic, complex abilities the ring can unlock. If you thought these blasts just looked cool, just wait until we get into how the ring uses scanning and translation to amplify a lantern's tactical edge. Ring scanning and translation. The Green Lantern ring's scanning and translation abilities are the unsung heroes of its power set. Nobody watches a lantern pull out their universal translator and thinks, "Wow, that's cool," because it mostly just works quietly behind the scenes. But here's the thing, it's absolutely essential. The ring instantly cracks thousands of alien languages, spoken, written, or even telepathic, making diplomacy across the galaxy not just possible, but efficient. Walk into any interstellar summit, drop your ring translation, and suddenly everyone's speaking the same language. Without this, the Corps would be stumbling through awkward misunderstandings in every key negotiation or crisis. And it's not just languages. The ring's scanners are like a Swiss Army knife on steroids. They can scan a target in real time to reveal absolutely everything. Power levels, threat factors, energy sources, species, taxonomy, environmental hazards, structural integrity, you name it. It's like carrying around the universe's most advanced forensic toolkit mixed with tactical battlefield reconnaissance. Need to assess if your opponent is just bluffing or about to pull out a planet-busting weapon? The Ring's already got the answer. Crucially, it can perform medical scans too, spotting internal injuries, toxins, or diseases. Life-saving intel during rescue missions. Before you think this sounds too perfect, the Ring's scanners do have their blind spots. Magic, the cosmic weirdness of some entities, encryption designed to fool advanced sensors? Those can confuse or block the Ring's readings, forcing Lanterns to rely on instinct, old-fashioned deduction, or sometimes a bit of brute force. Truly alien methods of communication, like entanglement-based signals or multidimensional symbolism, sometimes require extended modeling by the Ring's AI before a reliable translation pops out. This can create tension, especially in diplomatic scenes where a word or phrase could mean life or death. Behind it all is the Ring's AI processing mountains of data on the fly and automating the heavy lifting. This guards against over-reliance on raw strength and encourages strategic decisions over mindless blasting. Target shows heightened energy output and aggressive intent. Recommend caution and containment. The AI smoothly feeds this intel so the Lantern can focus on bigger picture decisions, not just reactive violence. It's a quiet but incredibly smart assistant embedded in every Ring, turning willpower into information superiority. Narratively, this dimension of the Ring's power is never flashy. You're not going to get jaw-dropping displays from scans and translations alone, but the entire Corps' ability to operate across the sprawling, complex alien cultures of the DC Universe hangs on it. Without the scanners, translations, and analyses, much of the Green Lantern mythos simply breaks down. No understanding alien tech, no peace talks, no clue what nature of cosmic threat you're facing. Fans often praise this function for bringing a grounded, almost scientific plausibility to a Ring that also shapes starships out of pure willpower. It's the foundational support system that props up the cooler, flashier powers like energy constructs and intergalactic fights. In short, the scanning and translation features are the Ring's advanced AI sensors working behind the scenes, quietly omnipresent, endlessly reliable, critical for survival and success. They are the reason the Corps can coordinate across the universe's wild diversity of species and dangers, making every Lantern part diplomat, spy, medic, and detective. If you think that's impressive, just wait until we dive into the Ring's advanced constructs and willpower feats. They take this quiet genius and crank it up to cosmic levels. Advanced constructs and willpower feats. Advanced constructs represent the Green Lantern Ring's ascent from simple tools to near cosmic scale forces. These aren't your everyday fists or shields. They include fully mechanized vehicles, autonomous duplicate lanterns, and even entire armies of hard-light soldiers. But don't be fooled. These feats demand a mind as sharp as a diamond. To pull off complex constructs like multi-jointed mechs or entire battalions, the wearer must simulate intricate internal mechanics and control countless variables simultaneously. This cognitive burden is enormous, requiring not just raw willpower, but razor-sharp focus and imagination. And here's the kicker. The Ring's influence stretches beyond just creating constructs. Green Lanterns have been shown manipulating fundamental forces such as gravity, radiation, heat, and light. At their apex, extremely skilled Lanterns can warp space-time itself. We're talking about creating wormholes to slip across vast cosmic distances instantly, and, under the most exceptional circumstances, even traveling through time. These abilities aren't just flashy tricks. They represent the theoretical envelope of what willpower can achieve through the Ring's power. But let's keep it real. These peak abilities are tightly bound to the Lantern's psychological state. Emotional clarity unlocks the Ring's true potential, while fear, trauma, or doubt can clip a Lantern's wings and lock away these advanced feats. Picture Hal Jordan at his most focused and fearless, bending reality during universe-shaking moments. That's when you see these powers in full bloom. Conversely, a Lantern rattled by self-doubt struggles to maintain even basic constructs, let alone armies or space-time manipulation. What makes these advanced capabilities so fascinating is just how mentally demanding they are. Crafting a simple shield is one thing, but controlling a city-sized construct or a battalion of autonomous soldiers requires the Lantern to simulate every cog, weapon system, and movement pathway in their mind. It's not just willpower, it's like running a mental factory at full capacity while at war. This explains why great Lanterns often have extraordinary mental discipline or unique cognitive gifts to harness such complexity. Then there are those rarer eyebrow-raising feats: micro-black hole creation, limited reality manipulation, and phasing through solid matter. These are the Ring's wildcards, often portrayed as outliers or forbidden maneuvers reached only with immense will and experience. For instance, generating a micro-black hole or twisting gravity to near singularity warps the known laws of physics in the DC Universe. But by granting these powers to will itself, the ring turns the user into a cosmic force of nature, if they can handle the mental strain. Narratively, these advanced feats usually line up with major climactic arcs. The ring's nearly limitless potential makes for incredible stakes. When all hangs in the balance, it's the moments where pure willpower breaks through limits that define the core's mythology. The ring morphs from a utility belt accessory into a cosmic weapon wielded by the worthy. Moments like Hal Jordan creating a construct army to hold back entire forces or opening a wormhole to save a planet from destruction are iconic precisely because they push the power ring beyond what seems reasonable. At its core, this evolution from simple energy shapes to manipulating the fabric of space and time itself showcases the ring's design as a manifestation of will made tangible. It's never just raw power. It's creativity, clarity, and emotional strength converging. Without those mental and emotional preconditions, the ring's extraordinary potential stays locked behind an invisible barrier, almost like needing the right key combination to unlock the universe. So yes, the Green Lantern ring can be a spaceship factory, a personal army, and a cosmic gatekeeper all at once. But it demands a mind strong enough and clear enough to match. And if you think that's impressive, wait until you hear about the ring's most broken or creative uses next. The most broken or creative uses. The Green Lantern ring isn't just about laser beams and giant fists. It stretches into powers flirting with near omnipotence. At the highest level, the ring dives into mind-bending abilities like hypnosis, invisibility through bending light, messing with perception, and limited mind control. This isn't your typical superhero gadget. It's more like an all-access pass to subtle mental espionage. Hypnosis allows users to project commands or suggestions directly, bending wills with a whisper of green light. Some lanterns make people see illusions or feel calm or fear out of nowhere, showing the ring's power to manipulate not just physical reality but minds themselves. Invisibility works by bending light around the user, canceling their visible signature and muffling sound, vanishing without a trace. But this power is rarely reliable, mostly because if invisibility was always on tap, every lantern mission would turn into a snooze fest. So it's usually reserved for sneaky, clever moments. Phasing is another wildcard. The ring can make its bearer intangible, letting them slip through solid walls like a quantum ghost. This lets lanterns bypass locked doors or escape traps in ways that break any normal physical barrier. Phasing requires precise quantum-level control over matter interactions, though it's infamously inconsistent. Sometimes they breeze through steel doors. Other times, walls are huge obstacles. Makes no sense, but it keeps writers honest. Healing and biological manipulation push things further. Rings have cured diseases, mended wounds, and regenerated tissue. The ring scans a living organism, finds what's wrong, and directs energy to kickstart healing. Full resurrection or instant limb regrowth is far rarer and usually narrative limited, but partial healing is a legit emergency tool. The Guardians keep lanterns from turning into walking medical miracles. Imagine casually rewiring biology without supervision. That would be, wild. Time travel and microscale reality tweaks are the ultimate wildcards. These let the ring's user hack causality or locally bend physics. Some stories show lanterns creating wormholes to jump sectors instantly, or pausing time in a small area. Others hint at limited history rewrites, or pocket universes. But these powers carry massive energy costs, unstable side effects, and serious ethical baggage. They're rare exceptions, not everyday moves. Here's the kicker. All these broken or creative powers flirt with godlike potential, but come with big downsides. They drain the ring's finite energy way faster than basic blasts or constructs. They demand mental focus, so intense it can crack a user's concentration. And crucially, they risk warping reality itself, which is why the Guardians freak out if lanterns push these too far. Use with caution is a massive understatement. Fans are split on how to interpret these abilities. Maximalists say since the ring can manipulate time, mind, reality, and biology, it should be ranked near omnipotent. Conservatives point out many feats happened under special amplifications, plot contrivances, or emotional possession, and don't reflect standard ring use. This split fuels endless debates, memes, and hypotheticals about what a totally stable lantern could unleash versus the ring's supposed in-universe limits. Creatively, the ring's mind-bending breadth inspires endless imagination, not just among writers, but gamers and fan creators. It's become the archetype of the Swiss Army knife of superpowers, a device that can solve almost any problem if you're clever or daring enough to push its boundaries. But balancing that power in storytelling is a nightmare. If the user can phase through walls, hypnotize anyone, or slow time nearby, every fight and crisis risks becoming trivial. So the ring's broken abilities mostly function as tantalizing wildcards. powerful tools tempting to use but risky, both narratively and morally. They underline the idea that willpower and imagination can theoretically shape whole realities, but responsibility, mental limits, and consequences keep the ring and its bearers grounded in tension. At the end of the day, the Green Lantern ring's most broken and creative powers prove it's not just a weapon, it's a storytelling device blending imagination, psychology, and cosmic stakes. Whether bending minds, jumping through time, or knitting wounds, the ring defines what it means to wield will as raw, nearly limitless power. And that's what keeps fans debating, theorizing, and dreaming what a Green Lantern can truly do. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.